Good evening, and welcome to the March 14th Board of Works meeting. We'll start this evening off with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. All right, roll call of members. We are all present? All present. All present, all right. On to approval of the minutes.
I was not there, Mary, so I can't.
Yep.
Move to approve the minutes from the previous meeting.
I will second those. We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Minutes are approved. Member Large abstaining. All right, on to department reports, and if you forgive me a little bit, we're going to jump around a little bit. Apparently there's an awards banquet, so we're going to have Parks Department first. John Messenger.
And I thank you for that, too. The restrooms were open last Wednesday, and they'll stay open until we close them in the fall. We'll have somebody on duty 7 days a week from here on out until we close those. Their responsibilities be cleaning the restrooms, obviously, and picking up trash, so we will have somebody on duty 7 days a week from here on out. The two main restrooms, one in Abner and Memorial Park, that's the newer restrooms. They're on a locking timer when we put this camera system in, so they will open from 6 o'clock in the morning and close at 11 o'clock at night. The one down by the Ball Diamond will be left open 24 hours, 7 days a week. Other than we opened them Wednesday and we had vandalism to them Thursday. Somebody had kicked in the one of the urinals and pulled the pipes off the walls. So that was fixed Friday morning. Shortly after we found it, we fixed it. Didn't get them on camera close, but there were too many people traveling in and out. However, everything is being videotaped, and we will catch the people that are responsible, hopefully. The Easter egg hunt will be Saturday, March 26th at 10:30 a.m. at the cabin. There will be activities inside the cabin as well as pictures with the Easter Bunny. Register your kids from ages 2 to 10 at the park office by calling 482-8860. That's to give us an idea of how many are in each group. We'll have thousands and thousands of eggs stuffed. Want to thank Miss Bohannon's class out at the high school. She helps us to stuff all those eggs. And then we will have them out there that Saturday, the day before Easter. We have taken a few trees down last week, and we'll continue to clean that up. Also, we've started preparing all the athletic fields for the spring seasons. Varsity baseball, I think they have another game in a couple weeks, and also we have quite a bit of activity at Abner Longley with our youth soccer leagues and also the softball. So that's what we had.
All right. Thank you, John. And I heard the daddy-daughter dance was a great success.
Oh, it was great. Yeah, big turnout like always, and one of our best events all year. Everybody had a great time. A lot of people turned out, and girls were just amazing. I did want to ask, is there any way I could go ahead and skip down too, so I can get to that?
Or is there any problem if we skip to new business for the surplus?
No, I'm fine.
You found that? Go ahead.
What I want to surplus, it's an Eagle air compressor, 230 volts, 60 phase, or 60 hertz, 3 phase, 1990s model air compressor. We've already replaced it. It's made in Canada, can't get parts for it. We've already replaced it with some that we bought locally here for $650. That other one, we just can't fix it. It's seen its better days, and I wondered if we could surplus that.
Okay.
I'll make a motion that we go ahead and let you take care of the surplus items that you just spoke about.
We have a motion to surplus air compressor. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right. Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, those opposed?
Thank you very much.
Thank you, John. Appreciate it. All right, also needed coming up soon is Joe LePage, Community Economic and Redevelopment.
First off, thank you very much for accommodating a winter sports banquet that started 5 minutes ago, so hoping to quickly go through the updates. An exciting update, in fact, with our Heart of Lebanon Downtown Revitalization Group. Just had our Lebanon Redevelopment Commission meeting, and pending approval, happy that some resources in the amount of $20,000 have been appropriated for our downtown group, and can't tell you how much this means to our organization to be able to have events downtown and being able to make Lebanon and downtown Lebanon the place to be. And so with that, understanding that most recently our Heart of Lebanon group has been getting ready and really ramping up its subcommittees, and those subcommittees are our design and promotion, economic development, and then of course our executive group as well. Still certainly taking on new members with those subcommittees, and if you'd like to get involved, the easiest way is to either get a hold of me or the Heart of Lebanon's email address, and that's just all one word, heartoflebanon@outlook.com. One of the things and most recent events that will be coming up is Lebanon City Market. You may have seen, and if you haven't, then I encourage you to go to Facebook and take a look at the new logo for Lebanon City Market. Now on Facebook as well as Twitter and Instagram. The Lebanon City Market will be a relaunch of the Lebanon Farmers Market, and so we're bringing that downtown, again, to make Lebanon the place to be. Most recently, I met with Terry Thorne, who is the preacher, the Reverend Terry Thorne at the Presbyterian Church, about the potential of collaborating with the church with our Lebanon City Market, and she expressed the church's interest in giving back to the community and wanting to kind of look ahead at things like being able to cook dinner and feed the masses, feeding the public, whether that be grilling out burgers and just making a fun event and being able to just be able to provide that to our community. Also teaming up with the Lebanon Library to be able to have potential movies downtown to coincide with things that the Heart of Lebanon does. And so we've got talking about Lebanon City Market collaborating with the church in some capacity. And so nothing officially has been set aside yet, but looking forward to having Reverend Terry Thorne meet with our Heart of Lebanon folks and really get that ramped up. And so with the city market, just to give you an update, we have roughly 28 different vendors that we either have gotten a yes, I will participate, I'd like to hear more information, or they have been a vendor in the past. And so we just absolutely blown away by the response we've gotten in this relaunch of the market, and really looking forward to see what fruit, pun intended, this bears, having it downtown and having it moving forward. And so on the 23rd of this month, we'll be getting together in Whitestown, the farmers markets of Zionsville, Whitestown, and Lebanon, to make sure that everyone who is a vendor is properly has all their I's and T's dotted and crossed when it comes to health department certification and things like that. So exciting times, looking forward to moving the process forward.
And we were talking about having those on Friday afternoon from 4 to 8 on Fridays, correct?
Yeah.
In the square?
It's one of the dates, and then we met earlier today, and we got a lot of positive response. I was fact-checking with the head of the farmers market organization in the state of Indiana and kind of talked to her about just the different elements that we have, whether we have county employees getting off at 4 o'clock, folks in the business park asking what's the status of a city market or a farmer's market within Lebanon, and passing along that information, and then of course meeting with the Presbyterian Church, and she said it's a no-brainer. There are many Friday night farmers market, Friday afternoon farmers markets around the state, around the region that do work well, and she said it seems like a no-brainer. You're going to have what's called a people generator with county employees, with the talent factory already downtown, with the Fig Tree that does a First Fridays where they have live music, being able to couple with them. I mean, all those things coming together, and then talking to the Presbyterian Church about using their pocket park, their recently done pocket park, to be able to be part of the farmers market. And so we had looked at having that farmers market on Main Street from Meridian Street to the alley near the Presbyterian Church, not having anything around the square as to inhibit traffic on a Friday afternoon, but being able to have it just close enough that people would see it. And then we would work with the Heart of Lebanon, who would be facilitating this market, to be able to help promote that market and drive more traffic downtown during those hours, and then being able to feed them dinner and the potential of having a movie downtown as well. But again, that would be on Main Street, right at Meridian, and then to the alley there along Main Street as well, not quite in front of the Presbyterian Church, so folks could get to the church if they need to pick up kiddos from the preschool. Yes, sir.
What about the beauty salon right there? Is that going to interfere with that business there?
No,
Across from the church there? Okay.
the businesses that would be affected would be the Ribbit Rich Insurance, Edward Jones Investments, and a new business that just opened up, Sherry Cottage. It's a French kind of boutique. All those places are the three businesses that would be affected. Sherry Cottage would stand to benefit
Metronet wouldn't be
greatly.
affected, Metronet okay.
No, not quite to
Not
those
quite,
storefronts.
Go past that alley right there, okay.
And we keep that alley open so there's traffic and parking for those customers as
Right.
well. So
Right.
the sidewalks are open. I mean, it would be in the street is
Right.
the plan, right?
And then if the market, Lord willing, grows, and we would then maybe revisit the Board of Works to say we'd need a larger space, but that'd be a great problem to have. And we'll kind of wait and see what plays
Have
out.
you talked to the businesses yet about what you're wanting to do, Joe? to
I
see
stopped in and
if they're
talked to the
okay
folks
with
at
it?
Ribbit and Rich. I haven't got a chance to get into Edward Jones Investments yet, but Mrs. Tandy over at the Sherry Cottage
Mm-hmm.
couldn't be more thrilled about it, having people walk in front of her storefront. She's
Okay.
absolutely thrilled.
I just want to make sure they're okay with it, we don't want to disturb their business.
One of the big things was the parking. We were concerned about the parking, make sure, and they would still have access with the alley and
Yeah.
because it wouldn't shut down that full street, just be that half a block there, right?
Yeah, limiting the parking spaces, it would be less than 10 spaces that would be taken as a result of this. We put the tables back to back in the middle of the street, so it'd be an an island of vendors. So you
Okay.
literally circle the market there and have live music going and a family-friendly event.
So with the board, you want to just jump down to the new business then and discuss
Yeah.
the road closure there?
Yeah, I'll make a motion, Jane, if it's okay with you, to go ahead and allow the closure at the half a block that you just stated.
And this is for April 1st, the first Friday, from 4 to 8. So we'll work with Larry.
Okay, that's
Right?
fine.
Okay. So we have a motion?
I'll second that motion.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye?
Aye. Those opposed? I'm sorry, I guess I should ask for discussion. Is there any discussion from the audience? I apologize for that. No? Okay. All right, we have a road closure for the city market. So that'll be April 1st from 4 to 8
Yep.
on Main Street from Meridian to the alley before East. Okay?
Yes.
Thank you. And like I said, we'll coordinate with Larry and also Chief Wormuth as
Police
well.
and fire
Make
and
sure,
stuff, yeah.
police and fire, make sure we have all of our I's crossed and,
Yeah.
sorry, I's dotted and T's crossed.
It could be the beginning of something absolutely fantastic, getting all those vendors, a lot of response from the public, and we've done some proactive kind of marketing as well to get some vendors that we think would be great additions. But it's the beginning of something that could be really fun.
Didn't we do some of that last year, I thought, or did we not?
The Lebanon Farmers Market we had been out at the park.
We did
And
that
for
on Thursdays, wasn't it? I
Yes,
thought?
sir, it was. And for one reason or another, the number of vendors dwindled. And so we felt to couple and go along with the downtown revitalization effort, that maybe it was time to bring that market, because it was downtown, it was quite popular when it was downtown, bringing it to the square and having it, be part of our downtown.
Okay,
Thank you, Joe.
thank you.
Any other comments?
No, sir.
All right. All right, on to our regular scheduled agenda. First up, Fire Department, Chief Batts. No crutches. Congratulations, Chief.
Slow, but no crutches. I'll officially be off the crutch on Wednesday. Good evening, everyone. Since the last Board of Works meeting, Lebanon Fire has made 139 emergency calls of service, held 20 training sessions totaling 75 hours, performed 21 commercial inspections, and installed 4 car seats. All department members have successfully completed their annual work performance evaluation. Spring cleaning is well underway at both stations. All interior painting is now complete. As weather permits, we'll be starting cleanup on the exterior. Saturday night was a first for local public safety personnel. The Boone County Sheriff's Office, the Lebanon Police Department, and Lebanon Fire participated in Zonta's purse modeling auction. The admin staffs of these departments worked the runway modeling purses. It was not pretty. But the funds that were raised are going to a scholarship program for senior females in the Boone County area. So it was a great time, had a lot of fun with it, but definitely was a first. This week, firefighters are doing their annual SCBA fit testing. Annual fit testing meets OSHA standard CFR 29-1910. On March 21st, 22nd, and 23rd, we are hosting a night training under live fire conditions. The training will be held at the Boone County Training Tower. Training will focus on rapid intervention scenarios. The evolutions will be held with White Sound and Zionsville Fire. We are working to put together a small museum in the admin hallway of Station 11. We have received several pieces from the 1950s and through the 1970s. Deputy Chief Mike Baird is building 2 antique-looking gear lockers that will go in the admin hallway, and it'll display 2 complete sets of turnout gear from the 1960s. We would like to invite the public to come to Station 11 and check it out. The Lebanon Fire Department would like to meet with area civic groups, churches, and organizations to discuss the dynamics of our department. Topics could include emergency service, CPR training, leadership philosophy, and we look forward to meeting the public. And last week, we filled out an application to have the 9/11 Memorial, wherever it may be, to be recognized as an Indiana Bicentennial Legacy Project. This is a great way to get the beam out into the public and get the information out to everyone.
Great.
That's all I have.
Chief, any public comment? Okay, on to Planning Department.
Thank you.
Derek Warren?
Good evening, everyone. I'm going to take the opportunity to talk about a hot topic in our office this last couple weeks. And it never fails this time of year. We issue many fence permits. With the weather starting to break and people wanting to get outdoors, they start to do these kind of projects. So it's important to note that all new fences or any fence being fully replaced or reconstructed needs a permit. Property owners simply replacing panels without removing the post do not need a permit. The cost of the permit is $30. During the permit application process, the planning office will research easements that could be located on the property. There are 2 basic rules for fence locations. All fences installed shall be placed outside of any utility easement. And the second rule is all fences shall be installed 3 feet off the property line unless written consent from adjacent property owners is provided during the application process. There are other basic rules for residential fences that need to be considered, such as fences cannot be over 6 feet tall on residential properties. Fences in the front yard cannot be over 42 inches and shall be 50% open. In other words, referring to a wooden fence, every other board must be missing. Close your eyes and imagine the white picket fence scenario. An interesting side note, no matter how much you dislike your neighbor, all electrified, barbed wire, razor wire, and stockade fences are prohibited residentially. Keep that in mind. Invisible fences are acceptable and they do not require a permit. When installing any fence, please remember to call 811, not 911, 811 for underground utility locates. If the property owners do this, it's an insurance policy that if they hit any unmarked utility structures, they're not liable for it. If you do not call 811 and you hit a underground utility structure, you will be liable for it, and those are not cheap. And another couple points I'd like to make on the importance of keeping fences out of utility easement. It's something that we don't necessarily regulate, we inform the applicant. Keeping utility easements clear helps utility companies perform routine maintenance, for example, replacing a pole with an overhead electric line. Construct improvement projects, for example, installing a new sanitary line that may be underground. And repair utility lines during emergencies. For example, removing a tree which has fallen on a power line during a storm. If fences are in the easement, utility companies, it makes it very difficult for them to create or correct an outage. And it may take them a longer time to correct that outage. The damage caused by moving a fence is not the responsibility of the utility company. The utility company, by the rights of the easement, has the power to do what it takes to maintain the utility easement. No one likes to hear they cannot fence in the entire yard, but in the long run, keeping fences out of the easement will save homeowners money by not having to relocate the fence if asked by the utility, or reconstruct a fence if it has to be removed by a utility for any reason.
That's all I have. Any comment from the board for Derek?
Sir.
From the public? Okay, thank you, Derek.
Thank you.
Next up, Police Department, Chief Wormuth.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. In the past 3 weeks, Lebanon Police Department has responded to 1,082 calls for service, and a total of 34 citizens were arrested for the following reasons. We made 14 arrests on warrants, 6 for drug-related crimes, 5 for driving while suspended, 4 for various traffic offenses, 3 for operating while intoxicated, and 2 for alcohol offenses. On February 24th, Officer Taylor Nielsen added her name to the growing list of officers with a Narcan save. She responded to a young female who had overdosed on opiates and quit breathing. Her successful application of Narcan saved the young woman's life and got her breathing again. Currently, I have about 8 officers now with Narcan saves, and sadly, that list is going to continue to grow, and we will continue to do what we can to save these people. On March 2nd, Detective Eric Adams was awarded a Distinguished Service Award from the Boone County, Hamilton County Drug Task Force for his work on a crystal meth case. That case alone resulted in the arrest of 17 individuals from the Lebanon area. The ringleaders were actually marketing the drugs in several counties, including Marion County, but it was pretty well centered here in Lebanon, and thanks to his hard work, he's dismantled that. On March 8th and 9th, myself and Officer Tommy Nash attended criminal gang training in New Albany, Indiana. And that's about it.
Okay. Any comments, questions from the board?
No.
From the public? Okay, thank you, Chief.
Thank you, sir.
Next up, Larry Lee, Street Department.
Thank you, Mayor and Board. A few items here. Street Department has been working on the regular street maintenance and alley maintenance throughout the city. We're continuing to get a few calls, so hopefully, once our asphalt plant opens up, we'll be able to start patching with hot mix. Also, the Street Department have had crews out picking up brush and small limbs that residents are picking up through their yards and things like that. We're able to get those picked up in a time and matter, and anybody who's got any of the limbs that's blowing down in recent winds, just give us a call and we'll try to get those picked up. Street Department and mechanics, they've actually, last week, when they snow, so they were actually able to work on our street sweepers, got those serviced and ready to go, and then we're out on a trial basis. So we've had some calls from residents and thanking us for that. So I'm not saying here spring is sprung because and I'm not taking my plows off, Mayor.
Knock on wood.
So, but we're trying to get those done as much as we can. Also, we're working with the storm department on some storm cleaning from inlets when it rains. We've had quite a bit of rain, so we've been busy with that. And we are also keeping an eye on a possibly storm sewer breakage on East Green Street. So that's been a daily thing to watch that.
Okay.
That's all I've got, Mayor.
Thank you, Larry. Any comments, questions from the board?
No, thank you.
From the public? Okay,
Thank you.
thank you, Larry. All right, Mike is unable to attend this week, so we won't have our traditional utilities update. But we will move on to a Stormwater Board presentation in new business from Mr. Dick Robertson.
Good evening. Just to give you an update, we have never had the opportunity to come to the City Council or to the Board of Works and basically give everyone an update of some of the stuff we've done. I'll give you this handout.
Two, Dick? Okay.
Hang on for 2 minutes. Need another one? We're all right. You're good? This year, we changed the operation of the stormwater department. We're currently now operating out of the street department. For the past several years, we've been working with utilities out at the utility office. This past year, we decided to make that change starting the first of the year. We have done that. I want to thank Steve. Steve Large has agreed to stay on with us, well, until he moves, I guess now. He agreed to stay on a year, so I'm trying to keep him, hold him to that, but I don't know if that's going to work. But Steve has agreed to stay with us to help get the program department started and moving in the right direction. And with him and with Larry, and I want to thank Larry and his department, with the two of them, so far we're getting a good start. I think you've probably seen in the paper, an ad in the paper. We've also put an ad in the paper for an operations manager who will replace Steve when he leaves. That's in there at this present time, and we're hoping to get that person on board probably, I hope on the 1st of May by the latest anyway. So main thing is try to capture some of the information that Steve has in his brain so we don't lose everything.
Shouldn't take long.
Shouldn't take very long at all. So. But how we operate a little bit is that Steve coordinates things with Larry and his staff to get a couple fellows in his staff to work and do the needed repairs, maintenance repairs that we currently need. And then they currently bill us, and then we, from the Stormwater Board, we pay them for their services. And like I said, that's worked out very well. So far, we're getting a lot more work done than we've gotten in the past, even in this short period of time. Talk about projects we've completed. I know everybody has seen North Meridian Street's finally completed from Washington to Park Street, thank God. I'm glad that's over. That was a water in a storm project. Also South Meridian Street, south of Noble Street, that was just a storm improvement project that we completed as well. We have Lafayette Avenue, which starts there at the bridge. There on Lafayette Avenue, goes up to Hoya Street, and from there, at that point, it's all nothing but water all the way up to Riley Road. So we are very close to being completed there on that project. We have some issues under the railroad viaduct with the water line that the water's working with the railroad and so forth to try to get that all worked out. That's probably, we have a project on Chicago Street that ties into that project that we're going to do, and that's going to be probably finished by the 1st of August, about the schedule when that's supposed to be done. We have an Ochre grant with that project that's going to fund the Grant Street section of that project, so that's good. So if you look at the second page, there's a list of other projects that we have planned. And if I can get it on the screen here, I will. Can we get it on the screen, fellas? Okay, I don't know if you can see that or not. But anyway, this is a list of projects that we're planning to do. We've got Grant Street as a project right now we're working on from Fordyce to Prairie Creek Bridge. That is going to probably start, actually we got it set to start this fall. We'll probably bid this fall, probably won't start till next year. We have Northeast Street is another one. From Washington Street to Hewland Drive, this is going to be a parallel project to Meridian Street. I will tell you this, we learned a lot from Meridian Street, so we're hoping we captured all those, I'll say, errors and mistakes and whatever we made in Meridian Street, that we can cut those off at the pass before we get down on that project. But that one there is also going to be bid this fall and started next year. We were trying to hold that to 2017. We got a bond for that about 3 years ago, and the way the bond schedule goes today, used 2 years ago we could get a bond for a project, and we could start just any time, and it could sit there 3 or 4 years. Well, it's not, or longer, and that's not the case today. Today, once you get the bond, you have 3 years to start the project. So we're stuck, and we're going to end up having 2 projects of Grant and Washington, or Northeast, basically going at the same time. Northeast will be a 2-year project. It'll start, we're going to do it just like we did Meridian Street. We'll do a phase north section from Fordyce Street north up to Hewland Drive. That'll be the first phase. That'll carry up like I say, up to Uland Drive, and then the second phase will be Fordyce Street back up to Washington Street. So everything will go like right to 4th of July, skip 4th of July, and start the second phase right after that is the plan, so. Another one is Fordyce Street. Derek will be interested in it. It's on the list. We currently don't have a schedule for that yet, but it is on our list. We have a project on Uland Drive from North Outer Drive clear out to Lysville Road. That one's been on our wish list for a long time, so it's still there. Lysville Road's another one that comes from Elm Swamp Road to John Bart Road. That's another one to help out that direction. Maybe someday help pick up some of the problems out there in that subdivision. I forget the name of it now. The one that's out there in the trees. Well, senior moment, but it's out there at the edge of city limits if it ever gets annexed into the city. Another one would be John Bart Road. Whenever the city ever tackles and annexes John Bart Road all the way through, that's one that really is going to need some work done. That one's really bad, has some real water problems. Probably going to have to be some retention of water somewhere to capture a lot of that water that's.
Sanitary sewer or storm sewer out there.
Yeah, it's going to take a lot of work out that direction. Main Street, from Park Street to Grant Street, that'll tie into the bridge down there on Main Street. We've actually worked with the county to make some improvements at the, I think Steve for this, that we worked on the draining structure there at the corner of Grant and Main to help upsize those a little bit, so that way all we can do is tie into those.
Both
everything.
sides of the,
Both
both sides of
sides,
the bridge,
so
we're going to try to upgrade.
I appreciate Steve's help on that. Chicago Street, I talked a little bit about that. That will actually be going this year because we still got the grant money for that. Busby Street, which is Garfield to Prairie Creek. Henry Street is extension, and Franklin Street also is another extension off Chicago Street. So those are some small projects and areas that we're looking at to look as well. Some of this other stuff is stuff that I'm going to be bringing to the council to talk about some of these other issues. But that's some of the stuff we have planned right now for future projects. I can tell you about, we've also got working is we did the original regional detention planning study of I-65 corridor back 2 years ago. That project is still in the works today. That's creating regional detention around down the south, around the west side of Lebanon. That's a master plan, so we're still working on that as well. The other thing we're working on this year is a update of our rate study, our fee for our stormwater. We started this 8 years ago at $3. We set the fee to only raise 25 cents at a time. We set it so when it hit $5, at that point the board could look at it again and see if that was enough or see if it needed to be a raise. It's at $5 this year, so this year we're looking into it to see if there's something there that needs to be raised. If there is, that's something that we'll be probably trying to make a decision on and come back to the council maybe midsummer with some kind of recommendation from the council for that if we do something. So we'll keep you all posted on that. I want to thank you for the opportunity because I think the rest of this stuff I can go through the council with. These are decisions that they will make, but thank you for the time, and I think we'll try to make this like an annual thing, come in and give you guys the annual report, and let everybody know what's going. Do you have any questions? Anything I could answer or anything?
Jane, any questions from you?
I don't think so. Thank you.
Thank you.
Steve, any questions? You're working every day.
Steve, you got any
aren't you?
questions?
Yeah, I know.
Are there any questions from the public for Mr. Robertson concerning long-term projects? Okay. Thank you, Dick. Appreciate the update.
Thank you.
Okay. Next up is, so now we're going to new business. So the Chief Wormuth with the new hire permission.
Hello again. With the pending retirements of 2 officers, that'll be creating 2 vacancies. We're currently in a hiring process now, but we still had 1 officer left over from our last pool, a good quality person, Reserve Officer Aaron Carlson. He's already been through most of the process. Basically, the only thing we've got left is to get him into the perf, his psychological and the physical screening. I need your permission to go ahead and schedule that and for the conditional offer of employment. And then hopefully I'd like to get him on the payroll by April 8th. I have 1 officer retiring April 5th. The next payroll begins April 8th. So I'd love to get him on there. And again, he's already a reserve officer. He's already in uniform. He's already working for us. I imagine he'd like to be paid too now,
So you're just looking for permission that when
to offer
the
him a
officers-
conditional offer of employment,
Okay.
which would take effect once we have 1 officer retire. And then in the new pool that we're working on now, that will replace the 2nd officer that retires mid-April.
I move that we approve the request.
We have a motion? And a second. Any discussion from the board?
Sir.
Any discussion from the public? Okay. We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? All right, all in favor.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Chief. Appreciate that.
And the second thing I want to bring before the board, I currently have 2 police canines on the department. This week, one of the canine officer came to me and said, due to personal commitments, he no longer wishes to be a canine officer. As he stated to me, he's spending more time with his dog than he is his 2 small children. It takes a lot of time, a lot of commitment, and as far as a department, it takes a lot of expense to keep dogs. Most of our departments, our size, normally only have 1 canine. We have 2, and it's an expensive endeavor. With the
And we
board's
had,
permission,
we
I
had
would-
3 previously, correct? We had 3?
we had 3 previously. We retired 1, and it's made measurable
It's better.
savings in our, it made measurable savings in our overtime budget. So the Boone County Sheriff's Department is interested in our canine. It's still new enough that they'll get several years out of it. They've asked for a proposal for me to give to them. I basically offer, we'll sell them the dog with some related training equipment. We can give them a bargain price, basically, because it's used equipment, but still very, very useful. So I'm basically asking permission to, I guess, declare this canine almost as surplus and put a proposal together for the Boone County Sheriff's Department to possibly purchase this canine and related equipment.
I'll make a motion, we allow,
Hold on one second.
I'm sorry.
And you have no concerns with addressing, no concerns from a usage standpoint? We're going to, you're not going to be a dog down? You're going to be able to still accomplish everything you were before?
Absolutely, yes. And the good thing about it, with the dog possibly going to the Boone County Sheriff's Department, it still leaves that dog in our area. And, as departments, we work very well together, and we're always mutually supporting each other. So as our dog has helped them in the past, I'm sure their dog will help us in the past.
You've got Zionsville, you've got Westfield, Whitestown, they all work together if you need someone.
That is correct. We actually have a very, very good working relationship with all the departments in Boone County.
So no concerns from that standpoint?
No concerns there.
Board, no discussion? Make a motion?
I'll make a motion, we allow Chief Wormuth to go ahead and declare that dog a surplus, and see if the county wants to buy it.
Okay.
I'll second the motion.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you very much.
Is there any other business come before the board, new or old business? Board? Good, okay. All right, move on to the paying of the claims.
I'll make a motion to pay the claims.
We have a motion to pay the claims.
I'll second the motion.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, claims are paid. And this time I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move that we adjourn.
We have a motion to adjourn
I will second that motion.
and a second. All in favor? Aye. Those opposed? All right. We are adjourned. The city council meeting will begin shortly. Thank you.